You've been lied to. Everything you were taught about attraction, being nice, being available, proving your worth, it's the very reason she's slipping through your fingers. You think effort earns love. You think if you show her you care, if you're always there when she needs you, she'll choose you. But let me ask you something. Has it worked? Or are you still stuck in that same cycle, feeling unseen, overlooked, forgotten, while she chases someone who barely even tries? That's because women don't respond to logic, they respond to feeling. And right now, you're giving her all your time, all your heart, all your attention, except the one thing that would make her feel something for you. And without that, you're replaceable. She doesn't want a man who begs. She wants a man who breathes mystery, confidence, and calm power, because that energy makes her lean in. That's what flips the switch in her brain. Not words, not gifts, not approved, emotion. And if you can understand the emotion she's addicted to, you'll stop chasing forever. Because the moment you give her that feeling is the moment she starts chasing you, and she won't even understand why. Let me make one thing clear. This isn't another dating trick or pickup strategy. This isn't about pretending to be someone you're not. This is about unlocking a deeper truth that no one ever taught you, not your friends, not your father, not the internet. In this video, I'm going to show you what actually makes a woman feel emotionally drawn to a man, and it's not money, looks, or even effort. It's something most men overlook completely, how you make her feel in your presence without trying to impress her. You see, most guys operate from fear, fear of rejection, fear of being alone, fear of not being enough, and that fear leaks into everything, the way you text, the way you talk, the way you chase. But the men who women obsess over, who they can't stop thinking about long after they've walked away, they know something different. They know how to lead with presence, with tension, with mystery, and today I'm breaking it all down for you, step by step. I'll show you what triggers female desire at a subconscious level, how to hold your emotional ground, and how to flip the power dynamic in your favor without playing games. This isn't manipulation. This is masculine mastery. There's one feeling that separates the man she forgets from the man she obsesses over. And no, it's not love. It's not even lust. It's anticipation. That deep, magnetic feeling of not knowing exactly what's coming next, but being drawn in anyway. That's what makes her heart race. That's what makes her brain start looping you over and over again when you're not around. Most men think women fall in love through logic. They think if they check all the boxes, be stable, kind, respectful, that she'll automatically fall. But that's not how the human brain works, and it's definitely not how a woman's emotional system is wired. She's not drawn to facts, she's drawn to feelings. And anticipation is the gateway to all the emotions that light her up: curiosity, excitement, desire, even anxiety, in just the right dose. When a man becomes too predictable, too available, too explained, he becomes safe, and safe, unfortunately, becomes boring. But when she senses depth in you, when she realizes she can't quite figure you out, that's when she leans in. That's when she starts chasing without even knowing she's chasing. You don't need to be cold or distant to create anticipation. You need to be present, but unreadable. You need to carry a calm energy that says, you can be curious about me, but you'll never own me. That energy is electric to her. It awakens something primal because it mirrors the emotional roller coaster her subconscious craves. And no, this doesn't mean playing games. It means becoming a man who doesn't need to reveal everything up front. A man who doesn't need to overshare just to feel close. A man who doesn't fear silence. When you become a source of emotional movement instead of emotional safety, she becomes addicted to the experience of being around you. And that addiction is fueled by one thing: anticipation. Think about the last time she was glued to her phone, waiting for a reply. It wasn't because the guy was mean, it was because he created space. He allowed her to wonder, and in that wondering, she became emotionally invested. Women aren't looking for a perfect man. They're looking for a man who makes them feel something. That one feeling, mystery mixed with desire, is stronger than any gift you could give, any text you could send, any compliment you could offer. And the crazy part, once she feels that energy from you, she'll start to see everything else about you, your voice, your walk, your presence, as attractive, even if it wasn't before. That's the power of anticipation. It rewrites how she perceives you. It plants you in her mind, not as a man she understands, but as one she has to understand. So stop over-explaining. Stop trying to prove yourself. Let her feel the tension of not fully knowing you, because when you master anticipation, you'll never have to chase again. She'll feel the pull, and she won't even know why. If anticipation is the spark that ignites attraction, then predictability is the slow poison that kills it. Most men don't even realize when it starts. It happens quietly, gradually, when you start replying to every text within seconds, when you begin announcing every plan, revealing every thought, explaining every feeling. You think you're building a connection, but what you're doing is suffocating the mystery. And once a woman feels like she's figured you out completely, something inside her begins to switch off. Not because she doesn't like you, not because you did something wrong, but because the brain, especially the female brain, is wired to crave discovery, to stay emotionally engaged. She needs space to imagine, to wonder, to fill in the blanks with her projections. When you remove the unknown, you remove the story she's building about you, and that story is where attraction lives. Dopamine, the chemical responsible for desire, isn't triggered by routine. It's triggered by uncertainty, by contrast, by the thrill of possibility. That's why she can obsess over a man who's less available, less invested, because his emotional rhythm still has highs and lows. You, on the other hand, become flat, reliable, predictable. And predictability isn't comfort for her, it's boredom. You tell her how much you like her on day 2. You tell her your whole life story on the first date. You fill every silence, answer every call, and clear every plan. But in doing so, you become fully known, and therefore no longer compelling. Mystery isn't about playing hard to get. It's about pacing your presence. It's about sharing yourself in layers, not dumping everything at once. It's about understanding that a little restraint is powerful. When she doesn't know what you're thinking, when she can't predict your next move, her mind starts working overtime. She replays your words. She reads into your silences. And that engagement, that overthinking, is an emotional investment. The mistake most men make is thinking clarity is the path to connection. It's not. Curiosity is, because curiosity creates the desire to return. Think about the books or movies that kept you hooked. They didn't give away the ending in the first 10 minutes. They built suspense. They revealed depth slowly, and it's the same with you. You are the story, and the more she has to wonder about what's next, the more pages she'll turn. So if you want to remain unforgettable, stop giving her everything. Don't be rude, don't be cold, but be intentional. Share enough to connect, not so much that she loses interest. Create space for her to chase, to guess, to feel, because once you kill the mystery, you kill the magic. And when there's nothing left to discover, there's nothing left to desire. Be the man she can't quite figure out. Be the man who surprises her, not with tricks, but with depth. Because in a world full of men trying to be understood, the one who stays mysterious becomes irresistible. Let's talk about the most misunderstood truth in male psychology. Nice guys don't finish last because they're kind. They finish last because they misunderstand what creates desire. You've been told to be a gentleman, the provider, the soft-spoken listener who gives her everything she asks for. You've been told that being nice earns you love, loyalty, sex, and respect. And maybe you've followed that advice only to be ghosted, friend-zoned, or overlooked for a man who seemed less emotionally available, less invested, and sometimes even less respectful. You sit there wondering, why does she keep choosing men who treat her worse than I would? But that question reveals the real problem, because attraction has never been about fairness. It's not a point system. It's not logical. Attraction lives in the emotional part of the brain, and that part doesn't care how many favors you did or how quickly you replied. What it does care about is how you made her feel, and nice guys, despite their intentions, often make women feel emotionally flat. There's no tension, no edge, no polarity. You're kind but forgettable, generous but predictable. You pour out affection before she's emotionally invested, and in doing so, you remove the opportunity for her to feel an earned connection. And here's what hurts. Deep down, you're hoping your niceness will eventually be rewarded. But attraction doesn't work like that. It's not transactional, it's emotional. And what women desire, what creates that fire inside them, is provocation, not politeness. They don't want cruelty, but they want to feel something. And when your energy is all about approval, she can feel it. It reads as desperation, and desperation doesn't create desire, it kills it. So what works? It's not arrogance, it's not indifference, it's presence. The kind of grounded, calm energy that says, I value myself enough not to chase. The kind of energy that doesn't need to be validated every 5 minutes to feel whole. When you replace performance with authenticity, you stop trying to earn her interest and start commanding it. You speak less, but your words carry more weight. You don't try to fill silences, you let her sit in them. And in those silences, in that space, she starts to wonder about you. That's what attraction needs: mental investment, emotional contrast. She needs to feel a range, not just comfort, but curiosity, not just attention, but tension. The man who can be kind and strong, loving but unmoved by chaos, that man becomes unforgettable. That man shifts from being nice to being valuable. So no, the solution isn't to stop being kind, it's to stop being kind in the hopes of being chosen. Lead with character, not with performance. Stop trying to prove that you're a good man and start living like one, with standards, with stillness, and with strength. Because when you become emotionally self-respecting, you stop asking for her validation. And that's the moment she starts offering it freely. That's the moment the nice guy becomes the man she desires. There's a moment in every connection when a woman will pull back, not to hurt you, not to punish you, but to test what you're made of. It's not conscious, it's instinctive. It's wired into her biology. She wants to feel safe, yes, but not just physically. She wants to know if you can hold your ground when emotions get messy. If you panic the second she withdraws, if you chase the minute she gets cold, if you try to fix, explain, or beg just to keep her close, you fail the test. Not because you're too caring, but because your emotional center is too fragile. That fragility signals to her that if she's chaotic, if she's moody, if she's human, you'll crumble. And no woman wants to be responsible for holding both her emotions and yours. Emotional sovereignty isn't about being cold or detached. It's about being rooted, unshakable. It's about having your internal compass that doesn't swing every time her mood does. When she pulls back and you stay grounded, calm, non-reactive, focused, that tells her you're a man she can trust. It tells her you're not there just to be liked. You're there because you choose to be, not because you need to be. And that difference changes everything. A man who governs his own emotions doesn't chase validation. He doesn't spiral into overthinking. He doesn't send paragraph text begging for clarity. He understands that distance isn't always rejection, it's often reflection. And if he remains present, not panicked, she feels it. That presence speaks louder than any reassurance. Because women are not testing your words, they're testing your energy, your steadiness, your leadership, your response to pressure. And when you prove, through your stillness, that you're not afraid of her emotional shifts, you pass that test at a subconscious level. That's where real respect begins. That's where desire is rooted. Because a man who stays composed under emotional fire tells her, without saying a word, I can handle your storm. That's the kind of man she clings to when life gets real. That's the kind of man she fights to keep. But most men fail because they take the test personally. They think she's being unfair. They think she's playing games. But it's not about that. It's about seeing what you're made of. Will you collapse the moment things get uncertain, or will you stay centered, self-led, emotionally anchored? Emotional sovereignty means you don't outsource your identity to her opinion of you. It means your self-worth isn't on trial in the relationship. And ironically, the more independent your emotional state becomes, the more she wants to be close to it. Why? Because it feels safe, it feels stable, it feels strong. And strength, real, quiet, internal strength, is the foundation of all lasting attraction. So stop proving, start embodying, stop reacting, start responding. When you master emotional sovereignty, you no longer beg to be chosen. You become the one she chooses, again and again, not because she has to, but because she can feel that you don't need her to. Here's a brutal truth most men never realize until it's too late. You teach her how to value you by how available you are. Not just physically, but emotionally, mentally, and spiritually. And if you're always there, if she never has to wonder where you stand, never has to work to earn your time, your energy, your attention, then you've made yourself emotionally cheap. You've become the man she can reach without reaching. And as much as it might sting to hear, what is easily accessible is rarely truly valued. It's not because she's ungrateful. It's because this is human psychology. Scarcity creates focus. Scarcity creates demand. Think about how we value things in every other area of life. A rare gem is protected. An exclusive product has a waiting list. A limited time opportunity commands urgency. But when it comes to you, if you're always texting, always calling, always adjusting your schedule just to be available, there's no urgency, there's no mystique, there's no edge. You're not the rare find. You're the default setting, and default settings don't inspire pursuit. They get taken for granted. What makes a man valuable isn't just what he offers, it's how he communicates through action that his time is earned, not in a toxic, arrogant way, but in a way that says, I have a life, I have a purpose, I have priorities that exist with or without you. When you treat yourself like a limited edition, she starts seeing you as one. When you pull back just enough to protect your peace, to focus on your mission, to not be constantly available, that's when she starts wondering. That's when she starts questioning. That's when you move from just another guy to a man who commands attention. Why? Because your energy is no longer flooding her space. It's disciplined. It's rare. And that rarity is magnetic. Here's where most men go wrong. They confuse accessibility with love. They think, if I'm always here for her, she'll see how much I care. But caring isn't about being available 24/7. Caring is about being intentional, present when it matters, silent when it doesn't. It's about showing her that your life isn't built around her approval. It's built around your mission. And she's invited into it, not the other way around. You want to know the moment a woman starts valuing you. It's when she realizes you don't need her attention to feel whole. You don't need to perform. You don't need to prove. You're scarce because you're full. Scarce because you're focused. Scarce because you've got something bigger driving you than her validation. That's the man she chases. That's the man she doesn't want to lose. So ask yourself, are you emotionally available or emotionally exposed? Are you generous or are you leaking all over the place? Hoping someone sees your worth, because until you start treating your energy as sacred, she won't either. And when you do, she'll feel it, in her gut, in her chest. That pull she can't explain, that's the value of your scarcity. There's a reason the nice guy never gets the girl, because he shows up with helper energy, not hero energy. And there's a difference, a big one. The helper is always available, always ready to fix, always asking, what do you need from me? He tries to earn love by being useful, by doing things for her, by making her life easier. But here's the problem. She doesn't want a servant. She wants a man she can look up to, a man who inspires her, a man who has a direction, a mission, a sense of self that isn't tied to her emotional weather. That's hero energy. And it's the most underrated form of masculine attraction there is. Because women aren't wired to fall for men they can control. They fall for men who challenge them to rise. When you show up with helper energy, you make her the center of your world. You orbit her. You put her happiness above your purpose. And at first she may appreciate it, but over time it drains her. Why? Because now she carries the weight of being your source. And no woman wants that pressure. Hero energy is different. It's quiet. It doesn't beg. It doesn't explain. It leads. It moves with conviction. A man who has hero energy doesn't ask for permission to exist. He knows who he is, with or without her. He's not rude. He's not dismissive. He simply refuses to shrink himself in the hopes of being liked. And that refusal is what makes him magnetic. You see, the helper wants to be accepted. The hero wants to be respected. The helper constantly seeks validation. The hero knows his value before anyone else confirms it. One gives his power away. The other walks in it. And when a woman feels that energy, it changes how she sees you. Suddenly, you're not the backup plan. You're not the maybe. You become the man who makes her question her own worth. The man who doesn't just attract her, he elevates her. So how do you make the shift from helper to hero? It starts with this. Stop trying to win her. Start trying to win yourself. Wake up with a purpose that has nothing to do with how she feels about you. Build a life that you're proud of, one that runs with or without her applause. Speak with intention, not desperation. And when she pulls back, don't chase. Lead. Let your silence speak for you. Let your presence be your proof. You don't need to argue your worth. You need to live it. Because the moment she realizes that you're not asking for her to choose you, You're simply inviting her into a life you've already claimed. That's when everything changes. That's when she stops testing and starts trusting. That's when she moves from observing you to admiring you. And not because you helped her, but because you inspired her. That's hero energy, and it never goes unnoticed. Every man wants to feel chosen, to be wanted, pursued, and prioritized. But very few ever stop to ask, am I living like the prize? Or am I just performing, hoping someone else will tell me I'm enough? Most men aren't rejected because they lack value. They're rejected because they've forgotten how to embody it. They walk into rooms, shrinking, they enter a relationship, bending, they hand over their power just to keep someone who was never meant to lead their life, and in doing so, they flip the dynamic. They go from the builder of their world to a background character in hers. But here's the truth. The prize doesn't chase. The prize doesn't beg. The prize knows its worth long before anyone else recognizes it. And when you carry that energy, not from arrogance, but from quiet conviction, everything shifts. You stop asking for love, and you start attracting it. You stop performing for connection, and you start commanding respect. Women feel it in your tone, in your posture, in the way you move through the world without needing to be noticed. Being the prize means you have standards, you have boundaries, you have a mission that drives you more than her validation ever could. It means your time is valuable, your presence is earned, and your emotions are governed by your principles, not her mood swings. And when a woman senses that she can't throw you off center, that she's not the sun you orbit around, but someone invited into your universe, something powerful happens. She respects you, she trusts you, she wants to earn your attention instead of assuming it. Why? Because she can feel that you don't need her to feel whole, and wholeness is rare. Wholeness is magnetic. Wholeness is what makes her see you as the kind of man she can follow, not fix. So how do you live like the prize? You build. You stop waiting to be chosen and start creating a life so full, so rich, so purpose-driven that it commands attention without asking for it. You become a man of vision, not distraction. You pursue excellence, not approval. And most importantly, you never lower your standards for temporary comfort. You'd rather be alone in your truth than lost in someone else's story, because a man who knows he's the prize doesn't chase love, he attracts it through alignment, through identity, through depth. The moment you realize that your value isn't something she gives you, but something you already carry, you stop playing small. You stop negotiating your masculinity for scraps of affection, and in that moment she feels it. She feels the shift. And suddenly she's not evaluating whether you measure up, she's wondering whether she can keep up with you. That's what changes everything. That's the difference between being an option and becoming unforgettable. The world doesn't need more men trying to be liked. It needs more men who remember they are the table, not the chair waiting to be pulled out. So walk like you're the prize. Speak like it. Live like it. And the right people won't just notice, they'll fight to stay in your presence. There comes a moment when you stop chasing her and start finding you. The version of you that doesn't beg to be seen, the version that doesn't fold under pressure, doesn't shrink to be chosen, doesn't give his soul away just to feel wanted. That's the moment everything changes, not because she finally texts back, not because she finally realizes your worth, but because you finally do. You stop asking if you're enough, and you start becoming a man who moves like he knows he is. And that shift, she can feel it. It's not in your words, it's in your silence. It's not in your gestures, it's in your energy. She senses the difference when you no longer chase her attention, but command your own. That's the energy that makes her pause. That's the energy that makes her wonder what's different about you. And the truth is, you remembered. You remembered that you are not here to orbit anyone. You are not here to earn permission to be valuable. You are the storm. You are the calm after. You are the fire she can't extinguish. When you stop seeking her approval, you become unforgettable, not because she made you the prize, but because you finally claimed it yourself. If something in you woke up today, don't ignore it. If this message hit you deeper than you expected, it's because some part of you knows it's time. Time to stop waiting for the world to see you and start building a life that reflects who you truly are. You don't need to chase love. You don't need to convince anyone to stay. You need to lead yourself. to rise into the man you were meant to become, with purpose, with power, with peace. And that journey doesn't stop here. If you're ready to keep going, if you're ready to master emotional control, attraction, and self-respect, then watch the next video I've linked right here. It will take everything we've talked about and elevate it to the next level. And if this resonated with you, hit that subscribe button, not for me, but for you. Because every time you click play, you're choosing growth. You're choosing to remember your value. You're choosing to stop being the man who waits and become the man who leads. You're not just watching content anymore. You're reclaiming your identity. And if no one's told you this today, I'm proud of you. Now go become the version of you the world can't ignore.